Hi, my name is John. Welcome back to my channel, and we're here to rank the Final Destination openers. This is part of a 4-part series of all Final Destination reviews and rankings. So with no further ado, let's get into it. The rankings are now the way I rank the movies versus the way I rank the openings. You'll see some of the movies have flip-flopped around a little bit. And it's not much of a change in the order to the rankings as far as the whole layout of the franchise, because at the end of the day, the opening is a crucial part to how the entire movie plays out and how well the movie is received and liked by everyone. And these openings can make or break the film. And I'm so super curious as to what the opener is going to be for Final Destination 6 Bloodlines. And I will tell you guys, I have managed to avoid every trailer, every little video of this. Now, I haven't completely avoided everything from my eyes. Like, I've had like little snapshots where I have to close my eyes, like whether it's on my phone, if I'm scrolling up and down YouTube or Facebook and I see all of a sudden the previews playing, and I shut it down real quick. But I haven't seen it. I have no idea. I really, besides what I've read months back about what this one coming out is about, I have no idea what Final Destination 6 is going to be or what the opener is. Coming in at number 5 for openings for Final Destination is Final Destination, The Final Destination, Part 4, the racetrack opener. So the opener starts off with our main character, Nick, and his girlfriend, Lori. They're sitting at a race car event, and they're in the stadium, they're in the stands. And you clearly see these high-end, like NASCARs, going high speed around in a circle, and you already know how it's going to play out in a way. You know that these cars are going to probably crash or do something. But they're watching the race, and he's sitting there and he's like, I feel weird, I have a premonition, I feel strange, he already feels weird off the gate with it. And I think with this one, there were so many omens, so many little premonition images that are thrown in our faces that they're so more on the nose as compared to the first 1 and 2, especially the first one, where, there's just little things like this guy's got this t-shirt and it's about death, and then this lady's, she's watching these young kids, and there's little signs that she's doing. But I'd say this one gets a little drawn out before we see the accidents start to happen. So like the cars are going around in circles, and then one car basically, I guess like a nut pops out of it or something, and then it rails off to the side and then crashes, and then another hits another one, and then comes flipping and flies into the stadium where everyone's sitting. And that's kind of how the whole chaos starts. And then the stadium collapses and everyone escapes, and even as they're escaping, pieces are like tires are flying, metal things are going all over the place. It's quite chaotic. I mean, it isn't terrible. I don't hate it. I mean, in seeing it the first time, I was highly engaged and loved it. It's just the over time and over, compared to the other ones, this is the weakest one. And this was one of those ones where it was 3D, so a lot of the shots and a lot of the deaths were all like based to be shown in 3D. So something's gonna shoot out at you like a pole, and the blood and guts come out real quick. But when you don't watch it in 3D, sometimes it kind of is off-putting, or it just looks goofy. Coming in at number 4 for ranking of Final Destination openers is going to be Final Destination 3, The Roller Coaster Scene.
What's up, man? I'm good.
So it starts off with our main characters, and this is one of those ones where the entire cast is all teenagers. And Wendy's there at an amusement park with all of her friends, and she's already seems spooked out by the roller coaster. And she's already getting, I guess the roller coaster's name is like the devil. I mean, they do a pretty good job of making the roller coaster seem fairly spooky and almost like a haunted attraction. But her and her boyfriend, they all get in this roller coaster, and all the kids kind of get lined up. And I was thinking, as I was watching this one, I'm like, yeah, they got this lined up perfect so that we can kind of see the order, the deaths in order. However, the roller coaster one, I feel like with this one, it just wasn't as grandiose as the rest of the openers. So, I mean, the roller coaster scene itself is contained just to the few people on the coaster, where with the car crashes and the plane crashes and the bridge collapse, there's just so much more death that happens. This is limited to the people on the actual roller coaster, so I felt like it was a little smaller scale. However, this roller coaster ride, does go terrible. I mean, people are flying out the seats, the coaster. It doesn't just like go off the rails and crash and like boom. It kind of, people die like one by one, like one cart disconnects and then another person flies out their seat, and it's all part of however death's design in this one was. And another difference with this one, the group that dies is mixed. So like her boyfriend dies, but like I guess this other dude who was like, they weren't really friends, or they were just part of the same friend group, who becomes like her side friend, the main character, and they end up surviving and being part of the whole, figuring out death's design, and the one that gets the camera to look at the pictures to figure out what's going on. And I think with the roller coaster one, it just wasn't as iconic as the plane crash and the first two, because it doesn't have that lingering effect. Like, I don't remember going to like amusement parks and looking at the roller coasters there and thinking of Final Destination 3. However, what I will say about this one was, this one also kind of reminded me of some urban legends about amusement parks. You hear about people who go up on rides and the ride falls apart or something happens. Like one girl went up on one ride at Great Adventure in New Jersey, and the ride dropped and her head stayed up and ripped her head right off. So, I mean, these are things that are like, spooky. And like this technically could happen. Roller coasters have had incidences. Coming in at number 3 for Final Destination openers is Final Destination Part 5, The Collapsing Bridge. So all these kids are working, are going on a retreat because they're working out of this company, but I think a lot of them are like on internships, so they're definitely college age. But there's a few older characters in this one to round off the cast. So they all, and this one, the opener takes a little bit to get to like the actual scene, which I guess was the same in Final Destination 1. So it takes a minute to get to the spot, but they're basically all boarding the bus, and the bus is going to be on its way with everyone on, and it gets to this bridge, and when they get onto the bridge starts to collapse. I guess there was already construction going on with the bridge, and things were going on with it. The bridge is extremely crowded with cars, construction workers, and I think overall, I mean, now at this point we're in 2011. Movies are definitely well into being able to do things with CGI, and this is very CGI. So the bus is leaving and it's getting onto this suspension bridge. It's quite busy. There's construction workers. They're doing construction work on it. It's jam-packed with cars. And all of a sudden, our main guy, Sam, who has the premonition, starts having weird feelings, starts hearing the song, and the bridge is going to collapse. Now, this one was quite drawn out. It was quite exciting, actually, the way this bridge collapsed, because it starts collapsing in pieces, and then everyone escapes off the bus, and then the bus falls into the water, and people are trying to leap around on this bridge as it's collapsing. It kind of gave a very like earthquakey, end of the world, Armageddon-ish type of movie.
Something's wrong. You can do this. Let's go. Do it. You can do it. Don't look down. Good. Good.
Dan!
I'm right here. I'm right here. Do you feel it? All right.
Dan, come on!
It's okay. It's safe. I'm just gonna follow this to Molly's voice. All right? Follow it to Molly.
Come on, you're almost there!
I really enjoyed this opener. I mean, I feel like it's a very strong opener. The only thing was, again, like part 4, it had the 3D thing going on. So like there was some 3D shots or things where like things fly out. And when you're not watching it in 3D, it sometimes loses that effect. All right. Coming in at number 2 for openers and ranked in the Final Destination series. And I spent a lot of time thinking about this one because I was torn. I was torn about where these two movies fit in the order altogether. And then I was torn about their openers as well. And over the years, this is also flip-flop for me. But in rewatching them, now that time has passed, and now that they've kind of all settled into, I guess, their permanent spots until tomorrow, Final Destination, the original, comes in at number 2 for best opener. And it's super close. It's super close. Now, Final Destination 1 has a great opener. I mean, Alex is already scared of planes, or seems to be intimidated by this plane trip he's about to go on to France. And he's going with a school class, and he gets on the plane, and when he finally gets to his seat, he just starts having these little premonitions, these little omens that kind of start giving him a bad vibe. And then the plane takes off, and lo and behold, it blows up into flames and they all die. Flash forward, flash back, it was just a premonition. One thing that I really liked about this premonition was that it was a plane crash. I mean, it was grandiose, it was big scale, it was exciting, and it wasn't a super fast one. The plane kind of comes apart, people fly out the side, and it's the thing is, when it finally gets to the explosion, we don't always see the order of how they die. Like later on in the movie, they say, oh, they died a certain way, but it's hard to really tell that in this one. But I think another great part, and I think where this one shines the most in its opener, is once they're off the plane and they're in the waiting area and where the seats, and they're bickering amongst each other, arguing that they had already got thrown off the plane and so forth, and that plane explodes in the air, the glass shatters, and they all just stop instantly what they were into, and they look, and I think this is where, I wouldn't give it Academy Award of status, but their reactions and their acting and everything that as it plays out in that moment was like, wow, the plane, he just said the plane was gonna blow up, and it just did. And I just thought this was so strong with the way they were, and then they get dragged off into, the police are questioning them about, how he knew the plane was gonna blow up and so forth. But this one's a super strong opener. And they've gone back to it, obviously in Final Destination Part 5 at the way, and obviously the little surprise twist ending. That one, no one knew that one was taking place. No one knew that Final Destination 5 was a prequel, and that ending scene is their final death scene in there is him dying on that plane, which, whatever. But, it just brings it back to the start. That's why I thought Final Destination had, I really thought it was done, because they opened with that scene, it finishes off with that scene, and then we haven't heard from them since 14 years. Even though this was the beginning of the 2000s, it still had that 90s vibe. The whole plane, there was a lot of plane thrillers that came out in the 90s, and this kind of had that vibe as well. But coming in at number 1 for Final Destination opening premonition scenes is Final Destination 2, basically the log truck, the highway accident.
What? You want a seatbelt? You gonna bust me, bitch?
Gina.
And I feel like, all right, so this might be controversial for some of y'all, and you know I get it because to me they're so super close. I mean they flip flop all the time in my head, but you know with this one I just felt like everything that they knew about what they did in Final Destination 1, and they saw how that movie was successful and how everyone reacted to it. It's like they said, aha, we got a little genie in the bottle here. We got a little, you know, secret sauce. Let's do this again and let's really think about it and see how we can up it. And I really think it ups. Even though a car crash isn't as grand as a plane crash, this car crash is like a multiple car crash pile up. And the way that this premonition goes, so AJ Cook, she's in a car with her friends. She just left her dad, and there's 4 of them, and they are all driving along. And I think the way the song plays, the way all the omens come into, they're right there. It's just like the little kids smashing the little toy trucks, the one person driving a truck that says drink responsibly and he's drinking a beer. Just so many little cool things. The other kid with the water bottles, and just the way everything is just such an omen for this girl. It just was so much more on the nose than like the plane seat breaks, like the tray falls down in the first one. You know, that was one of the omens. In this one, the omens were more obvious, more pointing right at what's about to happen. And as soon as you see this log truck in the lineup of the cars, it's like, oh boy. And, you know, not only with this one, I feel like the reason why this opener shines the best is the actual, once you have the actual accident, like that cop gets in line behind the log truck, something happens, chain breaks, log breaks off, and that log flies through that car. First of all, I was floored at that part alone, let alone everything that was to happen in this moment. I don't know how in the world they really filmed this, and how obviously there's clearly some sort of CGIs and, you know, things that are fake but like the blend of this is really good. I mean, this was CGI at its best in this time frame. CGI was starting to get better by the early 2000s, and Final Destination 2 really made it look seamless. I mean, but also as all the cars get into, and I know like they did this so that it was more concrete of the order of who dies in what order, because it plays a role of how they die in the movie. And you know, the young rich kid in the Camaro, and the mom and the son, and then the snappy girl, the one with the snappy attitude in the SUV. You know, I thought she was funny. And then, you know, stoner dude, Rory. You know, these guys, and then the black guy on the motorcycle. They just, you know, all their deaths, and like when the crash is just when this premonition is just about to be over and the rich kid's Camaro is on fire and he's screaming and AJ Cook is sitting in her SUV upside down and it's like all her passengers are all smushed and barely alive, you know, in the back, and this giant Mack truck flies through all the wreckage and just comes at her, and boom, the premonition ends and she goes back to the on-ramp. Honestly, I mean, I just loved every second of that. I felt like this Final Destination 2 opener reminded me of how strong the Scream opener was. You know, Scream was the one that did the whole openers, you know, strong openers, and Final Destination, obviously its success has been on strong openers. But this one, and then just even as the opening scene, as we pass the premonition part, even the whole you know, she takes the SUV and blocks the on-ramp and everyone's getting impatient and the cop comes, the same cop that got impaled by the logs, you know, she's bickering with him, and that same Mack truck that killed her in the premonition comes flying by and nearly misses her, and the cop intervenes and saves her, and then bam, smashes all the kids that are her friends in the SUV, and that is the opening of this movie. Like, wow, I just love that one. I just think that one takes the cake. Strong opener, iconic. Obviously the log truck is iconic. Well, there it is, all 5 Final Destination openers in order of rank. Hope you guys like it. Tell me what you think. If you agree, if you disagree. I mean, this is all clear subjective. I mean, people could have different opinions on this one. I'd love to know what they are. Please put it in the comments your ranking of the openers or your ranking of the movies as well. Also, give a like, subscribe. Tap the notification bell, all that jazz. I really do appreciate that. I do appreciate you guys participating in this video. And remember that this is part of a 4-part segment, so still have the deaths to go over, the funny deaths and the brutal deaths, and we already did the ranking of the movies themselves.